Get you some money, you gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this the short version. You know, get you a couple dollars, man. You gonna feel different.
Wasn't that personal? Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Boy, Mob James is famous. He did it. This dude is on every site all through the algorithm. It's crazy to see this. He had to get on the stand to reach that type of popularity, because way before he was popular on the internet, he was popular in the streets. His name was one of them names. When I first met Mob James, I was low-key honored, because I used to hear him give his outlook on the whole death row shit in general, and he used to hit it on the nose, bro, before I ever heard anything bad about him. His brothers, Timmy and Country, was my niggas. Country, rest in peace. Timmy still is. He's still alive. But, I had just only, it was a, Mob James' name was somewhat legendary. I ain't no hater. Then I heard some smut associated with his name. That part wasn't my business. So I disassociated myself from judging him based on the PIRU politics that happened years ago. Wasn't none of my business, right? And I couldn't, although at one point I was convinced based on the people I was cool with was pushing it, and they case was pretty convincing, just their appeal. I never really looked into it and was able to decipher for myself. So one of my James homies, Mob PIRU, BC, he like put me in touch with him. And then I was even bumping into like Mob James nephews in the street, and they was just kind of like shooting me the innuendo. They wasn't liking what I was saying about their uncle. When I say nephew, don't think of kids, think of big, strong, grown niggas bouncing outside of LA clubs with burners hanging out their back pocket that obviously must be legal, but they dress like G's, cold attitude. So I got myself out of that business. That's none of my business. This is happening in real time in our face, bro. And this is what I do. I comment on this type of content, and we go by criteria protocol, and Mob James just put himself in the boo-boo category. I don't give a oh my mama. But I found it ironic. I don't believe he was surprised at this question. I think he was prepped for this based on how he handled it, the rhythm. But he was asked about Tupac knocking him out. I heard this story a lot of times, didn't expect him to respond the way he did. I can't, 61 years old, I would have killed him. He could have just said, no, that's not true. But it kind of goes along with a lot of the things he did that seemed to be extremely performative. However, Suge Knight called in the TMZ to double down and confirm that Tupac indeed did knock him out. I just find it crazy that this shit, I know Mob James, I know Suge Knight, I don't know Tupac. However, I'm aware of all this shit all my life since it happened 30 years ago, right? I was grown 30 years ago when this shit took off. So I remember all this. I was like 20. I never thought I would see Mob James on the stand, and then Suge Knight calling in the TMZ from prison to I thought we don't talk about none of this shit. But hey, it's turned into entertainment at this point, and we gonna check out Suge. That nigga said not only would he have killed Tupac, he would have killed Suge and his brother. I was like, damn, that's kind of extra out, but let's see what Suge talking about.
You and I had a talk last night, and you were kind of grousing about people who were testifying that aren't telling the real story. Would you explain to our viewers, please?
Oh, first of all, my opinion, Tupac was the most incredible person you can have as a friend, as a brother, and still today, his morals. Number one, all these guys perjuring themselves on the oath. Number one, James never worked for me, never was head of security for me, and I can see he's a little bitter because Tupac put him on his pockets before. But the most important thing to this is that They're not coming in to get the truth. Everybody knows he's an FBI informant. Everybody knows he's a rat. So why we gotta act like he's gonna tell the truth? Don't TPD and James.
So hold on, I just want, you're saying that James McDonald, the guy who testified, said that he worked for Death Row Records, talked about what he saw that night. You're saying he did not work for you at all?
No. Now, he might have been at the club hanging out trying to hustle people and not putting the guy down or nothing like that, but he's an informant. He didn't work for me. If he would work for me, he would have had a Death Row chain. He would have had a ring. You would have seen him in pictures around us hanging out. No. One other thing that's very important. It's time for a change. You have people who've been talking to me like Universal for doing a movie or documentary to get all the information from my side, because I am Death Row, to talk about Death Row. Now they want to do with Snoopy, which I'm going to sue the shit out of him, because you have a lawyer that David Kenner gave all my files to and gave it to him to use my stuff. So it's very important that people always, these guys at Universal who's trying to do these things at one-on-one, stop making people deal with street justice. We should be grown enough to deal with regular justice.
So wait.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
Who would have ever thought we would hear Suge Knight say such a thing? Saying it from prison. It's crazy time, y'all.
Are you saying you're going to sue Universal, or you're going to sue Snoop?
Well, Snoop is nobody. But I'm going to sue Universal for taking my personal stuff. That's like when you look at it, Harvey, how is it every company that's way worse than the Death Row catalog sells for $300 million, $400 million? They offer me $700 million. But then they go and get it for $25 million, the same people who did the default justice against me? It's crazy.
They asked Suge about Keefe dead though on the stand and Mob James. This dude talk about, man, they stole my company. He don't give about none of that. Come on his company back. Snoop Dogg and Kenner and the lawyers, that's all he want to get out of jail and get back to glory in the story. But he say Tupac put him on his pockets. Guess we'll never know.
Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. You know, get you a couple dollars, man, you're gonna feel different.
Hey, Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.